जय गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन संस्थापकाचार्य जगद्गुरु सेव द होल वर्ल्ड शील प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gita, chapter 9, text number 19. Tapami aham varsham nigranami utsrajami cha amritam chaiva mrityuhu cha sadasad चाहम अर्जुना तपाम्यहम वर्षम निगृह्णामि उत्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सदसच्चाहमर्जुना तपामि give heat. Aham, I. Aham, I. Varsham, rain. Nigrahanami, withhold. Utsrajami, send forth. Cha, and. Amritam, immortality. Cha, and. Eva, certainly. Mrityuhu, death. Cha, and. Sat, being. Asat, non-being. Cha, and. Aham, I. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O Arjuna, I control heat, the rain and the drought. I am immortality and I am also death personified. Both being and non-being are in me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Krishna by his different energies diffuses heat and light through the agency of electricity and the sun. During summer season, it is Krishna who checks rain from falling from the sky, and then during the rainy season, he gives unceasing torrents of rain. The energy which sustains us by prolonging the duration of our life is Krishna, and Krishna meets us as death at the end. Krishna meets us at the end as death. By analyzing all these different energies of Krishna, one can ascertain that for Krishna, there is no distinction between matter and spirit. Or in other words, he is both matter and spirit. In the advanced stage of Krishna consciousness, one does not therefore make such distinctions. He sees Krishna only in everything. Since Krishna is both matter and spirit, the gigantic universal form comprising all material manifestation is also Krishna, and his pastimes in Vrindavana as two-handed Shyamasundara playing on the flute are those of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please repeat this translation. O Arjuna, I control heat, the rain and the drought. I am immortality and I am also death personified. Both being and non-being are in me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanajanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namao Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminithi Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tapamyaham aham varsham nigranami utsarjami cha amritam chaiva mrityuscha sadashachaham Arjuna. So this is chapter 9, most confidential knowledge. Here the Lord, how he is involved in different affairs of the universe through his different energies, that is being described here. In the Vedic literatures, it is stated, Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhavaki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. The Supreme Lord has got unlimited potencies, Para Asya Shaktihi, and this entire universe is a manifestation of the different energies of the Lord. The whole universe is working very systematically and in very orderly way because of the energies of the Lord. So, what are those energies? Krishna is explaining a few details here. Krishna says he provides heat and light, and then he stops rain during the summer season. He gives rain during monsoon. Krishna prolongs our duration of life, and Krishna meets us as death in the end. So if we study Bhagavad-gita, then one thing becomes clear. Every single aspect of existence in this whole universe, the final cause is always Krishna. Whether it is birth or death or success or failure or heat, light, the sunshine, or anything that we may take, any problem. Today, modern science is involved in studying matter very deeply, and they are trying to find out what is the cause of so many things that are existing in the universe. Now, the approach used by the modern scientists, technically it is called as Pratyaksha and Anumana. By trying to see things directly, analyze it, or put forward some hypothesis. So in the Vedic literature, these two approaches are known as Pratyaksha Pramana. Pramana means evidence, and Anumana Pramana, direct perception and hypothesis. But through direct perception and hypothesis, these two pramanas, Pratyaksha Pramana and Anumana Pramana, one will not be able to know what is the final cause. One will be able to know what is the cause of many things in this universe up to a certain extent. So the modern scientists, they are definitely very successful in knowing the cause of this universe up to some extent. But then the final cause is Krishna. And that understanding that the final cause is Krishna is possible only through Shabda Pramana or through the scriptures. So by Pratyaksha Pramana and Anumana Pramana, by directly seeing this universe, it is not possible to know that behind this universe there is Krishna. Neither by Anumana. Anumana means putting forward hypothesis that it could be like this, it could be like that. Like for example, Big Bang theory. The scientists have put forward a particular theory that the Big Bang could be the cause of this universe. So Pratyaksha and Anumana will not reveal what is the ultimate cause. But Shabda Pramana, this transcendental knowledge which is coming from the Lord Himself, will reveal to us the final cause, which is Krishna Himself. So that is why in the Brahma Samhita, the very first verse of the Brahma Samhita states, Ishwaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. So this is the conception of Krishna given in the Brahma Samhita, that He is Sarvakarana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. So there are many causes in this universe. Cause and effect is a very popular methodology of study. Shri Krishna Balarama ki, Shri Gaurnitai ki. So cause and effect is a very popular methodology of study, of analysis. But Brahma Samhita, in just one verse, summarizes that Sarvakarana Karanam, the final cause is Krishna. Just like, for example, Krishna says here that He stops rain and during the summer and gives rain during the monsoon. Basically, He controls rain. But in the Vedic literature, we know for sure that it is Indra who controls rain. That it's a very well-known fact. We have even seen the pastime of Krishna lifting Govardhana when Indra was upset that the sacrifices were not offered to him. So we see how Indra is in total control of the rainfall. But we also see that Indra himself is under the control of Krishna. So in this way, Krishna is the ultimate cause or the final cause of everything that exists in this universe. That is why Brahma Samhita, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur states that as far as scriptural conclusion is concerned, because there are so many scriptures, the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda, Sama Veda, Upanishads, Puranas. So as far as scriptural conclusion is concerned, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that Brahma Samhita finally concludes everything in the scriptures and gives the final result. So Brahma Samhita, which was found, the scripture was found by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a temple in South India. The temple is called Tiruvattar Temple. So there, very beautifully it is summarized that the final cause, Sarva Karana Karanam, is Krishna. And in this verse, a few details of how Krishna controls everything in this universe through His energies is explained. So Prabhupada says, Krishna prolongs our duration of life and Krishna also meets us as death in the end. So everything that exists in this universe is finally controlled by Krishna. Then, after stating all these things, Srila Prabhupada further goes on to state that for Krishna, there is no difference between matter and spirit. The energies of the Lord are there, and behind those energies is the Supreme Lord, who is a transcendental person. So for Krishna, from Krishna's point of view, there is no difference between matter and spirit. And also, a person who is advanced in Krishna consciousness, he does not see the distinction between matter and spirit. He sees Krishna everywhere. So this point is summarized in Chaitanya Charitamrita also very nicely. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a verse which states, Sthavara Jangama Dekhe, Na Dekhe Taramurti, Sarvatra Haya Nija Ishta Devasfurti. The Mahabhagavata, or the advanced devotee, certainly sees everything mobile and immobile, but he does not exactly see their forms. Rather, everywhere he immediately sees manifest the form of the Supreme Lord. So the vision of a pure devotee of the Lord, a Mahabhagavata devotee of the Lord, is similar or same as the Lord himself. For the Lord, there is no distinction between matter and spirit, and for the Mahabhagavata devotee, a devotee who is situated on the topmost platform of devotional service, he also doesn't see anything else other than Krishna. So, Krishna is both matter and spirit, and therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, this cosmic manifestation, which is nothing but comprises of different energies of Krishna, is also Krishna. In the 7th chapter, Krishna says, Bhumihi apaha bhumirapo nalo vayuhu kammano buddhirevacha ahankaramiti yamme binna prakriti rashtada. This entire universe, cosmic manifestation, is comprised of 8 energies: earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are 5 gross elements: mind, intelligence, and false ego. These 3 subtle elements. So the whole universe is nothing but a combination of these 8 elements: 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. And Krishna says that these 8 elements are Bhinna Prakriti Me Ashtada. These are my energies. So behind these 8 elements of this entire universe is Krishna, as Krishna himself has declared in the Bhagavad-gita. So all this, it is possible to understand only through the process of devotional service. Pratyaksha Pramana or Anumana Pramana, which is the methodology used by modern science to come to the conclusion as to what is the final cause of this cosmic manifestation. It is not possible to know Krishna through Pratyaksha Pramana or Anumana Pramana. It is not possible to understand Krishna as the cause of all causes through any other method other than devotional service to the Lord. So only by devotional service one can know Krishna. So this is what is explained in this verse. One interesting point which Srila Prabhupada says, that Krishna is both matter and spirit. From his point of view, there is no difference between matter and spirit. So this particular point is very nicely summarized in the pastime of Sakshi Gopala. Sakshi Gopal is a deity which is there in a place called Odisha. Even now if we go to Jagannath Puri, from there it is about 60 kilometers drive. There is a place called Sakshi Gopal, and in that place there is a beautiful deity of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada narrates this story about Sakshi Gopal, that this deity was originally there in Vrindavan, Gopala, and the deity actually walked all the way from Vrindavan, which is in Uttar Pradesh, all the way from Uttar Pradesh to Odisha. This happened many thousands of years ago. And because Gopala walked all the way from Uttar Pradesh to Odisha for giving Sakshi or witness in a particular case, he is known as Sakshi Gopala. So Srila Prabhupada narrates this story to emphasize the point that the deity installed in the temple is not a piece of dead stone, but the Lord is actually existing in the deity form. So to summarize the story shortly, Prabhupada narrates this story that long ago, 2 devotees of Krishna were going to the place of Vrindavana for visiting the different pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. One of them was an elderly Brahmana, and the other person was a very young Brahmana. And this elderly Brahmana came from a very rich and aristocratic family, and the young Brahmana was not so rich. Although he was very devoted and very good-hearted by nature, he was not so rich. So both of them were travelers, and they happened to meet and traveled all the way to Vrindavan. And this young Brahmana took very good care of this elderly Brahmana during this entire stay in Vrindavan. And so much so, this elderly Brahmana became very impressed with this young Brahmana's attitude of service. So he was feeling very obligated, and he wanted to give something in return. So when they reached the temple of Gopala, and they were offering their prayers to the Lord, Gopala, so this elderly Brahmana said that I would like to give my daughter in marriage to you. So this young Brahmana, he was a little hesitant. He knew that this elderly Brahmana is very rich, and I am not so rich. So definitely the family members of this elderly Brahmana would object to this proposal of marriage. So he cautioned him, please do not make such a promise. You are making a promise right in front of Gopala tomorrow you will have to fulfill this promise. But the elderly Brahmana was insistent, no, I definitely want to give my daughter in marriage to you. So anyway, the promise went on, and then when they came back to this place, Odisha, so some days passed, but there was no sign of the elderly Brahmana coming forward to fulfill his promise. So the young Brahmana was feeling that this elderly Brahmana has promised in front of the deity, and it is not a good thing to promise something in front of the Lord and then tomorrow forego it. So he went to his house, the elderly Brahmana's house, to remind him of the promise. So the other family members, when they got to know from this elderly Brahmana that this elderly man has made such a proposal, that he wants to give their daughter in marriage to this young Brahmana who was not very rich, all of them objected, particularly the girl's brother and mother vehemently opposed this proposal and said that if you do anything of this sort, then we will commit suicide. So this was the kind of opposition they had to face, the elderly Brahmana had to face in the family. So neither he could say yes to the young Brahmana, nor he could convince his family members. So he kept quiet. He did not take any decision. And when the family members of this elderly Brahmana saw that this young Brahmana has come home to remind of this promise, they immediately created a big scene. They called the nearby villagers, and then the whole matter was projected in such a way. And the girl's brother, he started accusing the young Brahmana that you have fed some intoxicating substances to my father, and you mesmerized him, and then you got something from his mouth, and now you are saying that you have helped him and he has promised you, and this is all false. So when all this was going on, the young Brahmana said that ultimately all this happened in front of Gopala. So the girl's brother, who was atheistic in nature, in a very wicked way, in a very atheistic attitude, he remarked, well, if your Gopala can come and give witness that such a promise was actually made, then definitely I will give my sister in marriage to you. So this was the challenge thrown. So the young Brahmana, who had full faith in the Lord as a transcendental person, he said, yes, definitely Gopala will come. And he walked all the way from Odisha to Uttar Pradesh. He went to his Lord and made this prayer in front of you. My dear Lord, you very clearly remember that previously when myself and the elderly Brahmana had come, this promise was made. And this young Brahmana, he was such a great devotee of the Lord. He was so intimately connected in devotional service with the Lord that the deity himself spoke back. The Lord said, I am a deity. How can I come? How can I walk? I am supposed to stand here. So the young Brahmana said, well, as a deity, if you can talk, if you can open your mouth and talk, then you can walk also. So what is the difficulty? So the Lord had to agree to his devotee's request. So then the Lord said, on one condition I will come. You shall go forward and I shall follow you. And under no condition you will turn back and see. If you turn back and look at me walking, then I will stop wherever I am. And then the Brahmana, but how will I know that you are coming? So the Lord said, I have wearing a certain kind of ankle bells. And by the tinkling sound of the ankle bells, you will know that I am walking behind you. So the young Brahmana started walking all the way from Vrindavan down to Odisha, Bhuvaneshwar, which is where currently this deity is there. And the Lord, the Supreme Lord, started following him. So they walked and walked and walked and walked all the way they came. Just before they were about to reach that particular village, this young Brahmana, he could no longer hear the tinkling sound of the ankle bells. So he was curious whether Lord is there or he is not there, or he has gone back, or he looked back and he could see the same deity of Gopala. So the Lord had transformed himself into the deity form. And at that particular place, all the nearby villages came and they saw in astonishment that such a huge deity of Gopala has come all the way from Uttar Pradesh. So the Lord, who was known as Gopala till then, he got the name Sakshi Gopala. And it is said that the local Raja, he built a huge temple for Gopala. So even now if you go to that place in Odisha, which is a few kilometers drive from Puri, we can have darshan of Sakshi Gopal. So Srila Prabhupada narrates this wonderful story just to emphasize the fact that from the Lord's point of view, there is no difference between matter and spirit. For him, everything is spiritual. So, those who worship the deity of the Lord in the temple, as it is authorized by the great acharyas with faith and reverence, they will find that the Lord, who is seated not only as the deity form in the temple, but also as the Paramatma in the hearts of everyone, he reciprocates in the hearts of all his devotees. So, in this way, we can know that Krishna is existing in this entire universe through his different energies, and from his perspective, there is no distinction between matter and spirit. For us, there is a distinction between matter and spirit, but for Krishna, there is no such distinction. So, with these few words, we shall stop today's discourse. Granth Srimad Bhagavad-gita ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.